Hey, anybody out there? Let me see. I am so not ready. Hey, Robert. What's up? Oh my God. If more shit could have happened in the last 3 hours, I don't think it could have. But can you give me a thumbs up if you are hearing me okay? I've got another new system. So now it's like I need to make sure that's all working. I deleted something, added something. I'm trying to make things good. Great. Thank you, Jay. Thank you. Look at that. Look at what Jay's got. Woohoo, Jay. I have something I'm going to be downloading for you tonight. Yes, I am. For sure. That's a new thing for me. I really struggled with whether or not to do memberships on my channel. And I have been eligible since before Christmas to do this. But I taxi day tomorrow in Detroit. Yeah. So I just talked to a friend and they said, why the hell not? Just do it. Everybody else is doing it. And so I did. And it's supposed to be like this process. You apply and then they come back, within 2 weeks to let you know. I was approved within 12 hours, like immediately. So I went ahead and I set her all up for perks. And I set it for the cheapest I could go on level 1, which is 99 cents a month. And I would have gone even cheaper if I could have, but it didn't give me that option. So I went 135. And that was with me going around and looking what other people are charging for their memberships. And I was kind of shocked. I was like, whoa, that's a lot for these times. So I put that $4.99 on the level 3, thinking that nobody would do it. So I wouldn't have, and somebody did do it. So it's been 24 hours and I've got, I think 4 or 5 people now already members, and which is wonderful. I didn't think it would happen. I wasn't focused on that. I just needed to keep up with the rest of the trend, okay? Because by doing that, by becoming a partner, YouTube partner, it opened up Creator Studio, the music part. Oh my God. Now I have access to so much different music, and you can have a way to pay for music, to pay for a license. So it's opened up different things that I didn't even know about. So I'm glad I did it because there are a lot of different benefits for doing that. So yeah, and I don't expect anybody to do it. I won't really be like, I had to advertise initially because it makes you do that. You don't have to, but if you want to go to the next step, you have to put a video out and you have to do this and that. And I was like, whoa. And you don't have to, you could have left it, but I didn't do that. I went ahead and made a video. You're a secret staff, Jay. You are my secret staff. So you're going to get some special stuff in the middle, and I'll be coming up with all that content, and which will be good for you coming up in spring and summer because you'll be able to get my trip to the mountains here. You're going to be getting a lot of exclusive content with me and EC, stuff that I probably won't even put out. So you and B will be privy to that stuff, which I'm very happy because I'm glad it's you too that I'll be sharing that with. It'll be much more intimate because I know who I'm sending it to. And so you'll get all the jokes and stuff that sometimes, you're out there in the woods and you're telling jokes and, fooling around and say stuff you can't put online. Well, you'll be able to get it. So that'll be a perk for you for sure. But my tea's too hot. I just poured it. But anyway, I was going to shoot Jeff a link. Oops, that's not the link. Link's over here. He wanted to come on, but I was supposed to come on at 6, and then some shit happened, and I had to come and cancel the whole first show. And then once I realized there's nothing I can do about my situation tonight, I came back and re-put it. So I'm going to tell you guys about it because it's not like a big deal. It's just car issues when you least expect it, right? Man, they do not make it easy for you. All I need is a damn battery. I could not get that son of a gun out. My husband and we have the tools, but they make it almost impossible now for you just to get the damn battery out of the car. It's got that thing on top, and then it's got a cover, and then, oh my God. It's not like the old days, folks, when you could just go in there and take the things off of the positive and negative off and change that shit out like in 5 minutes. It is not like that. Oh my God. So crazy. But we got the battery out finally. My hands hurt from trying to help him pull the cover off. Well, we got it over to there, made sure it was dead, and he said it was telling them that they could just charge it back up. But the battery's 6 years old. It's going to happen again, right? It's going to go out on me. So we left it there so they could just charge it all night. But I think in the morning when their new shipment, because they didn't even have the battery. They were out of the battery we need. So hopefully in the morning, what am I doing? Oh, Jeff, I was going to send a link to Jeffro, see if he did want to come on or not. I don't know. He may not. He was busy till like 6 or 7, but I'll shoot him the link anyway, just in case he wants to come on. Anybody want to come on, you're welcome to come on and talk. We're going to talk football. Right now, I'm just kind of like trying to figure out what I'm going to do about my car. And hopefully tomorrow, I'll just get a new battery. Oh, Jen says, let me move it up here because I can't see. I actually got good news on my car repairs. The Subaru dealership lied. The oil pan is not cracked. The front struts are fine, and the gasket is leaking a little, but nothing terrible. Oh my God. That is good news. You can't trust anybody, right? Well, we went to Sam's Club because they got good deals on batteries and stuff, you know? And they did. The price of the battery we need was not that bad, but they were out. But he said, we're getting some more in tomorrow. And he goes, you want me to try to charge this one? And we said yes, but on the way home, it's like, you're leaving in 2 weeks, and the minute you leave, the battery's gonna go dead. Right? So, and it's 6 years old. How long is a battery supposed to last? Yeah, replace it, right? And it's out right now, and it's a pain in the ass, that thing. And I should have taken pictures of each step because I'm afraid tomorrow we're not going to be able to put it back together. It's not that much stuff, but it's a process. Dang, it is a process. 6 to 7 years. Yeah, it's working on, it's in 6 years right now, 2019. So I think it's just the best bet, just to be safe. He's going to be gone. I don't want to have to deal with it once he's gone. And what, because at 5 o'clock I had a great day. You know, I was doing stuff for my members and doing videos and stuff. And hi, Uncle Bones. So I was happy. Things were working out. My computer's working pretty good now that I got rid of this other thing that was causing me issues that you guys didn't even really know about. But so at 5, I get up to go pick up the gang, like 4 kids that I pick up. And my fob wouldn't open my door. You know, it wouldn't open, wouldn't click. And I'm like, dang, my fob is out. And it's only like $8 to get the battery changed, but I had changed it last year. So I was like, let me run in and get the spare keys. So I run inside, get the spare fob, come out, nothing, not even a click. And I'm like, oh shit, it's something else. But my husband just happened to get home early today. So I grabbed the truck keys, and because my oldest was at work. So I didn't even have her vehicle in here. So I used his truck, gone and did my thing, came back, and there he is. You know, he got in, he couldn't get into the car, so he had to pull the little strip off of the handle, you know, so you could use the manual key. And he got in there and opened it up, and we have one of those chargers, you know, the battery charger, the portable. Nothing. It wouldn't even go. So when I came in, he had me park the truck there, and we hooked it up, and electrical came up finally, but it would not turn over. And you know, it's not like a traditional car where you put the key in and you try to, because it's electronic. So I'm just pushing the button. There's all I can do, and there was nothing, man, nothing going on. Your emojis are missing. What? I don't know. Jay, try out. Do you have emojis, Jay? See if the emojis, what they look like when they come up. I don't know why yours are missing, Uncle Bones. But I haven't even brought up the chat on YouTube, which I usually do have that up. Because I can't see mods or anything like that. Let me do that real fast. Is pull up there it is. Okay, there's the chat. Let me pop that out. And then we're going to move it over here. Ooh, that did not move well. Okay. What is that? Fan funding? I have all kinds of new stuff on here that I can't even. Oh, yeah, I got a little dollar sign down there. That is cool. Okay. So there, now I can see Jen and Uncle Bones and Danny. Good to see you guys. So wait, I heard a beep, but I'm not on that. Oh, there he is. Hello, Jeffro.
Hey.
Uh-oh.
Welcome
I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can. You're just a little bit low. A little bit low.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Still
that's
low?
better. You're good.
Alrighty.
So I don't know how much you heard earlier.
Well, I heard that you had car issues with your battery and had to postpone the show, but I didn't hear anything beyond that.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. It was just trials and tribulations of Nikki in a car. Why do they make it so damn hard to take a damn battery out of a car now?
Yeah.
That's freaking ridiculous. It had like two things and a battery cover, and it was attached like in 4 different places, and oh my God, it was ridiculous. We finally did get it out. Be lucky if everything works when we put it back together. But we can't do anything tonight, so nobody has the damn battery. I guess it's the most popular battery in El Paso.
Wow.
But
yeah, that's frustrating.
I mean, it's life, right? We all deal with the vehicle stuff. Jen's been dealing with all her stuff lately, and it's just you never expect it to hit you whenever it does hit you.
Oh, I hear you.
Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, how much is a battery going to cost now? Because I was with my dad, and the battery he has on his Caddy, on his Cadillac, that was $475. And I was like, what? Dad, never mind. I don't want you to will me this car. There's no way I could afford to keep up with this dang vehicle. But I'm trying to pull up all the stuff I had for earlier to talk about, because there went the Chiefs. Oh my God. Last 3 seconds, pull it out.
Yeah, I thought it was a great game. I mean, I would have rather have seen the Niners win, but I didn't really have a huge dog in the hunt. I was a big fan of Brock Purdy. You know, the guy, first of all, I followed him in college. He played at Iowa State up here. He's a small town boy, you know, and he gets his shot to play because nobody planned on playing this kid. He got a shot to play because everybody in front of him in line got injured. He was, you know, this was last year, about a couple games into the season, and he comes in and starts doing awesome. And he got drafted the last pick of the 7th round. There's only 7 rounds of, so if you've ever heard people talk about Tom Brady, Tom Brady was one of the arguably best quarterbacks ever in NFL history. He got drafted like mid-6th round. Like nobody expected him to be great, right? There was a dozen quarterbacks got picked before him in that draft. And here Brock Purdy's kind of the same story. In the 7th round, they're sitting there, the San Francisco 49ers, with the last pick of the NFL draft, and they pick this kid. And typically, they will nickname the last person picked in a draft as Mr. Irrelevant. Can you hear me? I think I bound up.
Hold on.
Locked up here. Did I lock up, or can you hear me?
I think I hear you. I hear you now.
Okay.
Yeah, I hear you now.
Okay. I don't know what. Hopefully they're straightened out. I don't know why that was doing that, but Anyways, yeah, he got picked the last pick of the 7th round. The Niners had the very last pick of the draft. And they usually nickname the guy who gets picked very last as Mr. Irrelevant. That's the nickname they give you. And here he is 2 years after being Mr. Irrelevant in a Super Bowl. So to me, it was just, there's some romance in that story. You know what I mean? I just thought that was cool. But
yeah, for sure. But I mean, it was full of controversies, you know, because of Kelce and the way he totally bumped up on what's his face? Oh my God.
You know, I put that on my Facebook thing. A lot of people replied. I'd seen Jay replied. There's a couple people in chat that replied.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, he was raging, and I have seen a lot of people on Facebook. It's kind of a tear in the Facebook community right now. Half the people who are Niner or who are Chiefs fans and like the whole Kelce Swift thing, which I have no problem with. They look at this and say, look, he evidently you've never played sports. You don't understand how passionate it gets. It's, you know, this and that. And Andy Reid went on after the game and said, oh, he's just he was passionate and he was upset he wasn't in the game for one play. Like he was defending him.
Right.
But I'm going to tell you, if you watch the video, he runs up to Reid, who is over 70 years old, one of the oldest head coaches in the NFL.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And with his left fist, with his knuckles, Kelce's right fist closed, runs up and shoves him in his ribs as he's screaming and coming undone. I mean, you can see it in his face. He's raging, coming undone. And it scared the shit out of Reid. He threw his clipboard on the ground like he thought he was being attacked by a stranger. And one of Kelce's teammates has to wrap him up around the waist and rip him away and turn him around. Okay.
Yeah.
So my thing is, this isn't just a guy who's pissed that he wasn't in the play for one game. If that's the case, you're yelling at your coach, come on, man, put me in the game, whatever.
Yeah.
But what he was doing was a different level. If you can imagine, had Tom Brady ever done that to Bill Belichick, he never would have played football after that for the New England Patriots.
I agree.
And there, you could put that scenario out there with almost any head coach. That head coach for the Lions right now, that Campbell, that dude looks like a freaking bodybuilder. If their tight end came up and did that to him, he'd probably lay him out cold on the ground. But I really have a hard time with people who are saying he was just an athlete who was being passionate in the moment. That was crazy. Had I done that to anybody, I'd be arrested for that.
Yeah. He had rage in his eyes. It was like he was that close to his face, you know?
Yeah, and I'm you know, in my mind, Reid putting up with it and making an excuse for it. I almost compare that to a woman who's in love with her boyfriend, and her boyfriend gets drunk, loses his mind, and beats the crap out of her, and she's saying, "Oh, don't take him to jail. He's a good guy, you know. I love him." Yada yada. I feel like that's what's happening here with Reid and Kelce. But
I was scared for him. And I thought, you know, had he not been standing the way too, he could have easily just gone over.
Yeah, it's not, if he would have stopped short of him, if he would have ran up and stopped short, even though he was raging and screaming, I'd be fine with that. But he literally puts his right fist into his ribs as he's screaming at him. So much so that it scared Reid, and he dropped that clipboard on the ground and reacted like, holy shit, what's happening to me right now?
Well, everybody's talking about it. And if he's any kind of a man, he should come and do an interview and say, I apologize to him later, you know, whatever.
He's done that in the past when he's lost his temper on the sideline, threw his helmet, broke it and stuff. He has came forward and said, you know what? I shouldn't have reacted that way. I was passionate. That's not an excuse. I shouldn't have reacted. I really thought that was going to happen here. Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, maybe lost in the moment of winning the Super Bowl, you're not at, maybe he'll find himself in that place in a few days where he's looking at it again going, dang, what was I thinking, you know?
Right. I hope so. That's what I'm hoping. And I think a lot of people are hoping that he will come to his senses and realize that that was not a good image for him to do that. And
I hope that Taylor's watching that. And I'm not saying you break up with the guy, but you know what? All these people are saying, hey, he lost his temper. It was a passionate moment. You know what? I've been in arguments in a marriage where I'm passionate and I'm pissed, smoking pissed, and so is she. And there's a passionate disagreement. I don't go to running up and throwing my fists into her ribs and screaming and raging like that. You know, and what if a teammate wouldn't have been there to pull him off of Reed? I mean, that teammate had to pull him away from him.
Right. And for those who didn't watch, here is the moment that he comes right at him. This is the moment.
Do you have the video of it?
I can probably.
I have a video of it. You're allowed to play. I can send you the link to it.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Let me see if it's. I don't see one here. Oh gosh, they don't even have that other one up.
I'll send this to you in Messenger so you can play it. And I really kind of wonder, you know, when I watch it on TV, I was kind of like, whoa, you know. But I wonder if some of the people who have commented on this have really gone back and watched the video of it. When you do that, it's like you kind of get a little bit sick to your stomach when you watch the video of it. It's like, holy smokes.
Yeah, it kind of was like, okay. It makes you actually think about if he ever gets mad, is that how he reacts? You know? Because she better not ever get him pissed off. Good Lord.
Well, I'm not. Look, I know there's a lot of people who don't like the whole Swiftie, Kelce. That's not me. I could care less. You know what? I think they deserve to be boyfriend and girlfriend and left alone and not made a spectacle of. They don't ask for half of the crap that's thrown at them as a couple. I get it.
Right.
But let's see if you can play this there. It's in your messenger now.
Okay. Gotcha. Oh my God. That was not cool. I just seen it again while I'm waiting. Hold on. That's even worse.
You really don't. When you watch this video and you see him run up and put his fist in his ribs, it blows you away that he did this to his head coach. I mean,
where is it? Where is it? Oh, on Facebook. Okay, I am turning off the volume. I'm gonna make it big.
Kansas City's profit margin this year is up $338 million over the last 5 years annually. So now you got somebody bringing that kind of money into the team, and he does that to a coach. Is it that easy to discipline him and sit him down? I don't think so. I think there's a weird dynamic now that exists because of that.
And as far as I could see too, McKinnon was the only one who responded or saw what was happening.
Yeah.
And put him off.
I feel like had 7 or 8 other players seen him go hands-on with the head coach like that, there'd be 7 or 8 guys dogpiling on top of him. Like, dude, what are you doing? You can't do this, you know?
You have to know that he's fielding a shitload of calls today from, after seeing
I mean,
this.
I don't doubt that he is genuinely a nice guy. What I have an issue with is that moment of passion and temper when your check system that says I can do this, but I can't do that. When that disintegrates, that's what we're talking about here. We're not talking about how nice he is, how much money he gives to charity, how well he treats others. That's not it. It's in the moment of the chaos and the freaking out when you can't say what's right and wrong here. That's the problem. That's where women get beat up by men in arguments and stuff all the time. Guys who are not able to control those situations within them. And not to be sexist, probably the same way the other way around. There's probably a lot of women who deal with those issues too. But I can't just look at it and give them an excuse and say, "Oh, it's a football game, man. You got to understand that's not what it's more than that."
And I mean, yeah, they had a turnover and everything right then. And he, at that moment, I'm sure he was thinking that wouldn't have happened had I been in. But
yeah, he was mad that when they were on the 7 or 8 yard line and they ran the ball with Pacheco, the running back, he got hit hard at like the 3 or 4 yard line and fumbled the football. And the Niners recovered. And they had taken Kelce out that play. And normally when Pacheco runs around the end like that, it's Kelce who's there blocking for him, protecting him. So he felt like because I wasn't in, they got to him and caused that fumble. That's why Kelce is upset. And I get why he's smoking pissed at that moment. I think any real good player would be smoking pissed off at that moment that they weren't there for their player and that happened. Does that mean you go up and put your fist in the ribs of your coach and scream and rage at him in front of all these people at a Super Bowl? I mean, it doesn't make sense to me.
On the highway, he's probably got road rage.
That's what, yeah. I mean, I'd hate to be when this guy's having a bad day and the song is on the radio that he doesn't like and you accidentally rear end him at a red light. I'd hate to be that person.
He could have had a heart attack.
He could have
had a heart attack, Jeez. I don't know. But that's one of the things that happened. I mean, it was an exciting game. There's people who didn't watch, and I know, like you said, you didn't have a whole lot invested. I didn't either. None of my teams made it, so I just picked a team and went for it. And I had picked the 49ers because they're West Side. That's how I used to pick anybody from one side over to the West. Is who I generally go for in the Super Bowl if my teams aren't there. And I have like 4 teams and nobody made it. So, but it was exciting. They tied her up, and I thought they were going to go into the second quarter there of overtime, but they pulled it out. They pulled it out with that pass, and that was it. 3 seconds left on the damn thing. And they couldn't, 49ers couldn't hold it to get another shot at another,
Jay says, thank God I never lose my temper. This is the way I see it, Jay. Neither me or you are young, okay? I'm a little younger than you are, but let's suppose me and you hang out every day and we're close, like real close. And we go out and we're camping together, and there's times when we're laughing and joking. There's times when we get in arguments and have disagreements. That would be a normal friendship. But in one of those times where I'm mad at you and you're mad at me, that I lay my hands on you or you lay your hands on me, that's done, dude. At that point, it's over. And that should be the case with any relationship. When somebody loses it to where they put their hands on you in rage, that's crossing a line that nobody should feel comfortable with.
Exactly. Yep. But anyway, that happened. It happened, and it's going to be part of the Super Bowl ever and ever.
Well, this is what sucks with the Super Bowl. It seems like something always does this. We can't spend the next day talking about how it was a close game and it was fun to watch. If you didn't, I mean, I get where it wasn't fun for Niners fans, right? But if you didn't have a dog in this race, who wants to watch a game where it's 40-10, right? I mean, nobody wants that. We want a competitive, close game. This thing went to overtime. It was really an entertaining game to watch. And we can't be talking about that because instead we got to talk about the whole Kelce thing that happened. And that's what's robbing Facebook right now.
I know, but there's even more about Taylor Swift and her little gang of chicklets that were hanging with her up in the booth there.
I know. There's major news stories on everybody wants to know who Taylor's blonde, good-looking friend is. Yada, yada. And it's like, that's the story the morning after the Super Bowl?
Right. Well, it was Blake Lively, Ice Spice, which was the gal with the darker,
the orange hair with the cross
the
on the neck.
And, her mom, Andrea Swift, was there. But what they are saying is during this whole thing, they pan up, because through the whole thing, they're panning to see her reaction. And they're doing the girly thing, jumping up and down and, chick stuff. And at one point, they notice this Ice Spice with an upside down cross necklace. And I don't know if it was really upside down cross, but several times she picks it up and she kind of flips it. And at some point she does the devil's horns. Okay. She does the little devil horn thing and they catch it. Yeah. So there's that. Okay. But if you know Taylor Swift's, what she does in her shows, her new show has an entire section where they have she has this giant serpent that comes out behind her, and she's in the center with this light, and she has a coven of girls around her with lights, and they are saying that she's a witch and that she's actually doing these ritual witch stuff on her shows now, and that she has gone to the dark side.
Yeah, and how much that you can believe. First of all, it's all the times that the camera pans up there, it's not Taylor asking for it. It's the network saying, "Wow, pan on her again. Wow, pan on her again." They're the ones who are choosing it. And the other thing that seems crazy to me is all these pictures of Taylor and Travis with Mahomes and his wife. They do a lot of photos and a lot of things together as couples. And if that was the case, I'd have a hard time believing Mahomes was really comfortable with that. Mahomes is a very, very Christian dude, and he wears that on his sleeve. 2 hours before every game, he's kneeling out there in the end zone praying for like 20 minutes before every game. I mean, he does not hide his feelings on his faith. And it just would be hard to believe that he'd be saying to his wife, "Hey, let's go hang out with Travis and Taylor all the time," if that was the case, right? I mean, but maybe it is. I don't know.
I knew Dio used to do that was one of the first to do that. But his grandma's sign to prevent evil spirits. I don't know. I didn't know that.
If I remember right, maybe I'm wrong, but after watching the documentary on Ronnie James Dio, I believe when he was young, he grew up in a, didn't he go to a private school that was like a Catholic school or a Christian school or something like that?
I don't know.
Seems to me that he, as a kid, had parents that were really...
Well, they're saying that all of these games are all fixed, that everything was fixed. Remember, prior to the whole Super Bowl, the colors, okay, everybody was saying that the colors were already picked, and
I think it would have a hard time fixing the game exactly how it comes out. But I will say this. Here's some things that I've noticed about the Super Bowl that are a little hard to swallow. For a week prior to the game, the Vegas odds makers had this line on this game. The Niners would win by 2 points. Then it was 2.5. Then it was 3. And then it was back to 2. But it was always 2 to 3 points. And here we are in overtime. Niners kick a field goal and they're up by 3 points. And we're trying to see if they're going to, if the Chiefs are going to come back. And when the Chiefs scored that touchdown, put them up by 3 points, and they covered that 2.5 point spread. How does Vegas get this right to within 0.5 point all the freaking time?
Yeah.
That's not that exact of a science. It just can't be. You know what I mean? And here's the other thing that I'm going to say, and you can call me the conspiracy theorist or whatever. Here's a big problem I have with the Kelce Swift thing. And I'm not here to get political. That's not what I'm stating. I'm just stating the facts here. It is known who Taylor Swift supports on the political front. I'm not going to say any names, but it's well known who she gives a lot of money to when it comes to parties. Here comes Travis Kelce, who Coach Reed and the Kansas City Chiefs have always been, and every team tells this to their players. I don't care who you want to go get sponsored by and get paid by on the side and talk about whatever, but don't do controversial stuff where we start losing fans, right?
Right.
And what happens? Travis Kelce, when I started seeing this commercial about 2 months ago or a month and a half ago, he's doing the commercial for Pfizer to get the jab, okay? And you know how much he got paid to do that commercial? $28 million.
What?
And he got that contract 15 days after he started dating Taylor Swift. 2 weeks after he starts dating her, he's in a Pfizer ad getting $28 million telling people to get the J. I don't believe in that type of coincidence. I'm sorry. There's way too much going on there. First of all, I don't think him or any NFL player would want to get involved in that type of controversy. But for $28 million, and now you've got a girlfriend who leans heavily to one side of that conversation.
Yeah.
Something's going on there. That's all I'm saying.
That is crazy. I mean, dang. Oh shoot, it's still loading. I had some other stuff. So yeah, that's crazy, right? To think that coincidences, right? A bunch of freaking coincidences, and it doesn't make sense. But there's more. Okay, let me see. My stupid thing will. Okay, go to the top here. So another thing that had happened is the halftime show. Okay. And you had Post Malone and Reba McEntire, do the beginning song,
yeah.
God Bless
America the
America.
Beautiful and the Star Spangled Banner.
Yeah, Star Spangled Banner, and which was great. It was good. It was good. And here comes the halftime show, and it was Usher who was doing it. And they even had him on roller skates.
Yeah, they had
around.
all the background singers were on roller skates at that moment.
Yeah. And a chick falls off they had one of those poles, pole dancer.
They had 4 like little stripper poles.
Falls off the pole, and
I thought T-Pain was going to come out and start singing "I'm in Love with a Stripper" since they were in Vegas and they had the women on the stripper poles. But anyways, yeah.
Well, it goes, and the audio was horrible. It was
there's a lot of talk about he had that chick that came out with the electric guitar and was acting like she was playing the guitar. That guitar isn't even plugged in. I mean, trust me, I know when I play electric guitars, you might go cordless where you don't have a cord dragging around behind you running to the amps.
Yeah.
But you at least have something plugged into the guitar that runs to a battery pack on your belt that sends that signal out. This guitar was not plugged in. So they're not only lip syncing, they got somebody playing the guitar like they think they're Jimi Hendrix, and the thing isn't even plugged in. I mean, you don't have to be an idiot to be looking at this going, come on, guys, couldn't you at least pretended to have plug a fake cord into it or something,
something. Yeah, it was bad. And near the latter half, Alicia Keys comes on and does her thing, and she's beautiful, she's wearing this tight one-piece suit.
I will say it was a nice suit to avoid wardrobe malfunctions because there wasn't any fasteners or anything. It was like painted on her almost.
Down, it was fitted. Yeah, fitted suit. And but Usher comes along and puts his arms around her near the end of that and caused all kinds of trouble with her man. I can't remember his name right now. It's a crazy name. But the guy she's seeing right now, they've got video of him up in one of the clubhouse things, throwing chairs and shit, and one of them flicks around and hits him in the back of he threw the chair and hit himself. It's hilarious. But yeah, I don't know.
Then later in the performance, they had Lil John come out and start rapping. And then they had Ludacris coming out and he was rapping. And I will tell you this, when Usher started that halftime show and he was like, thank you, everybody. Some of my famous or some of my top hits, he said. And he goes in and the first 3 songs he did, nobody even recognizes. I mean, until he started doing with Lil John and them, which everybody got into. Those first 3 slow songs he played, unless you are some cult follower of Usher, the general public has never heard those songs before. So it's like 2/3 of that halftime show was wet toast, man.
It wasn't even loud
until Lil John and Ludacris came out. And then later, shortly after the halftime show in the 3rd quarter, they had to stop the game because they had a stripper running across the field, they said. And I'm thinking, who's that, Ludacris? I mean, who's running across the... Because who paid $20,000 for a Super Bowl ticket to go strip and get thrown in jail? I don't get that. That's crazy.
It was probably one of those people they had on the around surrounding the stage, the dancers that they hired to be out there cheering and stuff. It was probably one of them.
I think what we have here, Nikki, is a good example of the NFL's inability to read their customer base. Okay, I'm not saying you shouldn't have rappers or hip hop for halftime shows. I believe there are a big percentage of the base who enjoy that, right? But last year for the Super Bowl, Chris Stapleton sang the national anthem, and everybody said that is the best national anthem anybody's ever sang at a sporting event ever, right? Why don't you get that guy to do your halftime show? You know?
Yeah.
And you look back at the history of halftime shows, I can read, there's a few that really stand out. Prince, when he was doing his, and when he started doing Purple Rain, they're at an outdoor venue. It started raining. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
It started raining hard when they were doing that song, and they kept going. They kept, and it was like, holy crap. It was so impactful of a show for Prince. The other one is when U2 did it the year after 9/11. And they had that huge curtain behind them, and they were video superimposing with lasers the names of everybody who died in the tower when they were out doing the song Where the Streets Have No Name. I mean, so impactful, right? There's so many bands that when I think back, even the one last year, I don't totally hate. They had all those different hip hop artists out there that Snoop Dogg, everybody. It was entertaining. And it was, I don't get where they look at this and say, let's get Usher. It's like, what?
Yeah, they missed the mark. They should have gone to a different genre, because when they skip genres, it's much better.
You know who they should have got? Two people. They should have got Chris Stapleton. You know who they should have put with him? Oliver Anthony. The nobody who wrote a song, recorded it, it went viral, and everybody on the face of this earth was talking about it for months because everybody connected it and felt what he was saying. Didn't matter if you were white or black, didn't matter if you're a Democrat or Republican. You heard that song and said, amen, brother. That's how I feel right now. They should have had Oliver Anthony and Chris Stapleton doing the halftime show. And here's traditionally what happens. For years, everybody who does the halftime show gets paid about $2 million for doing it. And almost everybody who's done it has donated that money to charity. They never cashed the check, so to speak. Okay. So it's not like people are doing it for money. There's a lot of people who are declining doing it. You don't know how many people they may have asked who said no before Usher said yes. I don't know.
Well, there's more to the story. Here's the rest of it. Justin Bieber was also supposed to be doing the halftime show, and I don't know when he opted out, but at some point during rehearsals, he opted out. So people were under the impression that he was going to be there, and he was wiped from most of the advertising, but in the very beginning he was listed as going to be singing as well. But he was up in the booth. They showed him up in one of the clubhouse things.
Yeah, there was a lot, JayZ was there too. Yeah. And I was thinking, I enjoyed Prince. I enjoyed the hip hop show they did last year. I'm not saying it has to be this genre or this race or I want to throw all that notion away. I want to go for who's entertaining that people will connect to, right? And I thought that JayZ would be cool. The problem is what network's going to let him go out there and say, I got 99 problems and a bitch ain't one? Because that's the song everybody wants to hear him sing. And he can't really do that on the Super Bowl, So I get why we don't have JayZ up there doing it. But, when I think back in the last few years, I can remember when the Rolling Stones did it. Not a whole hell long ago, 15 years ago. The Rolling Stones did it, and everybody complained because they sounded like shit. And they did sound like shit. I mean, I thought it was really cool because the Stones were going to do it, but they just didn't sound good. So I'm not saying we have to pick these big popular bands. They've got to be able to do a show right that people will enjoy. Who I would have put out there, I think I would have got Kiss to do it, to be honest with you. They're on for the last 2 years. They've been on their farewell tour. And if you've seen them in concert, they still got it, man. How cool would it have been to see Kiss doing the halftime show at 70 years old or whatever at the end of their career? Still killing it. I think everybody would have liked to have seen that. But
absolutely. There's still a lot of old hair bands, glam bands out there that everybody loves. You put a song and everybody knows, you know. So I think they really are overdue for a rock halftime though.
Well, they're just, like I say, I feel like this is an instance of the NFL not reading the room right. Like they think this is what everybody wants. Like for instance, I'm a member of a couple groups for my favorite football team in Atlanta, right? And when I go there, I see in those chat groups, Usher was from Atlanta originally, right? I see those guys drooling over talking about Usher, saying this guy rocked it, he killed it. Yeah, in that group, you'd think Elvis Presley was on that stage, and I get it. They played to that corner of the room well, but they don't understand. 90% of the people watching this halftime show was like, "Who? I've never heard this song before. What are we doing here with this guy?" They just don't understand that that's how most of them felt about that.
I'm trying to find. Okay, they're showing Taylor chugging her beer.
And at least Travis's brother Jason at least behaved a little bit here. He wasn't shirtless with his big hairy man boobs out, double fisting Miller Lights, screaming, you know, pressing them against the glass.
Like brothers?
That's Kelce's brother.
He was
just retired. He'd played for the Eagles, and he just retired at the end of the season. And the night after he retired, he was at the KC game, pressing his man boobs against the glass that night and holding a Miller Lite in each hand, making an idiot of himself.
Is that him
right there? Yeah. There's a meme of him dressed up like what's his name on The Hangover, saying Jason Kelce just arrived in Vegas, and he's wearing the satchel and whatnot.
Oh God. Yeah, he would look like that. That outfit. I mean, really? Wow.
But he's married, and his wife made a big issue. That was the big story, was after they had played, I think it was the Eagles. Weren't they playing the Eagles in a game, one of the last games of the season, where the brothers were playing each other and the mom was there? And no, or maybe it was the Buffalo game. I think it was playing the Buffalo in the playoffs. That's what it was. Swift's up in the box. Mahomes' dad's in the box. Everybody's up there in the box. Kelce's getting hammered. Double fist and Miller Lights with his shirt off. And he's got a big hairy chest, and he played offensive line in the NFL. We're not talking about a guy who's got six-pack abs. He's a big boy. And he's letting it all hang out in that suite. And he's all sweaty, and he's rubbing up, and Taylor's he's trying to hug Taylor and stuff, you know, with his shirt off. He was making a fool of himself. And his wife was standing in the corner, looking down the whole night. She was not happy about this. And that next week, they did an article where she had bought a new dog or a pet. And they asked her in an interview, "Did you pick this out with your husband?" She said, "No." She said, "I never asked him permission to get it, just like he never asked me for permission to take his shirt off the other night."
Oh.
I mean, she made an idiot out of him in that commercial. And she was begging Patrick Mahomes' dad to go out and ask him to please come back into the suite and put your shirt back on. Your wife is not okay with this. And he was just letting it go.
He's 6'6". Wow.
And then that's the other story. that nobody talked about on the network. Patrick Mahomes' dad is from Texas, been living in Texas. The week before the Super Bowl, got his third DUI. This guy's got a drinking problem. Got his third DUI because it was his third in Texas. It was a felony. Okay.
Yeah.
Went into the court. They would not let him, while he was on bond, leave the state of Texas. Meaning he couldn't go to Vegas to see his kid play in the Super Bowl because he got his third DUI. And I'm okay with that because that was really stupid to go out and get your third DUI days before your kid's going to be playing in the Super Bowl. Well, what are you doing, you know? But, and from what I've heard, this guy is quite a number. I know somebody up here in the Midwest who, their sister, when they were in town for a baseball deal, ended up sleeping with that dude and got knocked up by him and has his kid. And evidently he's got a few of these rolling around. That's Patrick Mahomes' dad. So,
Wow.
you know, not exactly the exemplary, you know, that's why they don't show him much, so to speak. He's not the guy you'd want to, but.
Here's another thing that was up was the stuff related to the number 13. And it was, I mean, they were doing all kinds of stuff, but they're like Super Bowl 58, right? 5 plus 8, 13. February 11th, 2 plus 11 equals 13. Versus the 49ers, 4 plus 9 is 13. Halftime score was 10-3, was 13. Chiefs 2023 win with Kelce was 13. And game-winning drives was 13. And there's even more. There's more related to that.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, here's the thing with that. I'm not sure if, just to play devil's advocate here, when you look at those stats, it feels like, wow, there's something there, right? But then when you look at each one of these things they bullet point to get there, there's 200 things that they didn't bullet point because it doesn't bring you to 13. And maybe 20 of those things brings you to the number 5. You know, I mean, I'm just saying,
right.
It would be easy to slant it and make it look like this, but like when they say the 2020 game with Kelce, whatever, the score adds 13. What about the other 16 games that year, right? What did they add up to? I mean, we're picking and choosing stats to support this view of that, and I'm not sure how, you know, it can feel like there's something there, but I'm not so sure we couldn't have picked the stats to make it look like 12 wasn't as significant or 9. You know what I mean?
Right. But it's making the rounds. I mean, it's I think Joe Rogan did it and a bunch of other of those type of radio show guys.
Yeah.
We're doing all those. And
that was another thing I thought was weird. They finally have the Super Bowl in Vegas. And you bring up Joe Rogan. Why didn't Dana White and the MMA do an event that Friday or Saturday night and play on what was going on in Vegas? There should have been an MMA event, pay-per-view event like Friday night or something. And the reason why they didn't is the MMA is in dismay right now. And that's kind of a behind the scenes thing. They have everybody. There's so much controversy going on with that because to me, it would have been, if I'm Dana White, I've got an MMA pay-per-view event where if you're there for the Super Bowl, you're coming here for this too, right? But I've got some friends who were there and they went to the Sphere and they were showing up. U2 is there doing a residency playing in the Sphere. And it was freaking cool. I've never been in there. I've never seen good video of in there. They say you've got to. A lot of people got to take Dramamine and shit before they go in there for a concert because it is crazy.
They do not recommend you go in this place because it's all, it's around you. So,
and the Blue Man Group is back in Vegas doing a residency, a new concert. I guess that's supposed to be really good right now. But
I wanted to go see Tesla, but they're only going to be there for like a couple of weeks. They're not doing a long-term thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it looks awesome. I want to go do that spear thing. And maybe I'll pull up a picture because it is so cool looking. I should probably look for it on YouTube because that way it'll be
yeah, if you search U2 at the Sphere, they've got some really good video of that people have shared. They actually showed a moment of it, I think, during the game when they were talking about it. They were showing U2 on stage there. But
which one should I pick? Oh my gosh. Inside the spear or outside the spear?
Inside. You gotta see inside of it.
But the outside looks so cool.
It is, but on the inside, when you're standing there looking at the stage wherever you're at, and you look around 360 degrees, it's like the surface of the entire building is a video screen. So it's like in your peripheral and everything that's happening is wrapped around. It is crazy.
I'm getting through the ads first, so before I can share it. Share YouTube UV. Who is banging out there? Somebody's banging out there. This one. Let's see if we can get to the start. That's not that impressive.
No, but I think they build it up and more becomes lit up to where all of a sudden you're like immersed in it. They don't start from square one like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It does look like it's coming down right on top of them.
Yeah. And that what you don't see is how that's wrapped curved all the way around coming back beside you and stuff. So it feels like you're a fish in a fishbowl with a 360-degree view of everything that's happening around you.
Like you could just grab it.
It is the feel of the IMAX theater concept where you would lay back and look at that curved part of the dome,
Yeah.
but it's all around you in a gigantic venue, like a concert venue like this. So it's
but that's U2 right there.
And you see how they're superimposing what looks like bubbles with those like pictures in it. They do that. That's on the surface, but because of the way they do it in different sizes, it looks like bubbles floating around the room to you.
Yeah. So cool. Let's see if I can do.
Yeah, if I went to Vegas, I don't think I'd even care who it was that was playing there. I'd probably go to the concert just to see what this looks like. But because it's such a production of what you show, the bands that play there are forced to do residencies where they'll do like a minimum of 30 shows because of how much production it takes to put together something like that.
It's $84 a show.
Yeah, the people that I know that were there at the U2 one said it was actually not that bad, really, when it comes to cost.
Right now, it's showing $114 for a ticket, and that is for what is this? Which one is it? Which one is it? Okay, right. Looks like they have Cirque du Soleil show in there too.
Yeah, there's a couple different things that revolve through it. I think the interesting thing though is that this was kind of designed to be utilized once the original kind of glam wore off of it, to be a promotional venue.
Yeah.
Meaning like you used to, I think what you can do now is when you go book like 3 nights at a hotel, they'll tell you if you book 4 nights, we'll give you a pair of tickets to the Sphere to see so and so. These hotels in those areas are giving away tickets as a promotion. That's why it only costs $84 for a ticket to something a lot of times, because they are using it as a promotional venue.
Yeah.
You know how much money they probably make in from advertisers who put their ads on that thing all day long, all night long, you know? They probably don't need to make any money selling tickets to concerts. They make plenty in sales from corporate. I will say this before I go about the Super Bowl this year. One thing I was happy to see, and it's just amazing that they can do this, is they kept it safe. You know, in the world that we live in and the threats that exist out there, and for somebody who wanted to cause calamity on a world stage, that's your venue you would target, right? I mean, if you're a terrorist or something, for them to pull that off and there not be an issue, to me is amazing. And that anybody involved in the security and keeping that venue safe for everybody who's there deserves the money for the halftime show, not the artists that are there. That is crazy that they do this. And what was really interesting, for those who know who he is, a very kind of respected announcer who was supposed to be a part of the network's crew. His name is Joe Buck. 3 days before the Super Bowl, he's been in Vegas for all week, left. And he said, I'm getting out of here. I don't feel good about this. Something bad is going to happen at this Super Bowl. I'm feeling it. It's weighing on me. This is impending. I'm out. And he left. He walked off the job. And this guy has been an NFL announcer, and he's not old. He's a younger guy. And he was like, I got to get out of here. And that freaked a lot of people out. Like, dude, why? What have you heard? What happened here? You know? But nobody wanted to talk about. There wasn't any media doing stories on it, really, because that ain't good press, right?
Wow.
But just the fact that they keep something like this event safe like they do is just, to me, that is so amazing. It makes you wonder how much behind the scenes stuff we don't see. Guys, snipers who are doing Overwatch, watching that whole crowd waiting for something bad to happen, just to make sure it doesn't. I wonder how much of that really exists at these games.
A lot, I'm sure. I mean,
$9,000. So I have a buddy of mine that went, a group of them, and they paid $20,000 a ticket, but it was fairly good seats. The cheapest tickets that were there were $9 or $10,000 for nosebleeds and like on the edge. But what's interesting is the Skybox in Houston last week, the suites that were at the Super Bowl last year went for $1.25 million for a suite, and this year the suites went for $2.5 million, exactly twice as much. And there was more suites at this deal. You think with more of them available, the price would go down a hair. No, they're double. So inflation doesn't just exist in the grocery store. It exists for the billionaires and millionaires who are buying the suites too. They were twice as much this year. But
dang, that's a lot of money for one night.
$2.5 million for 20 people to be in a suite.
God. For a football game. That's
it's hard for us to wrap our heads around, but we're we're not talking about, the Apple CEO and stuff like that. There are a lot of people in business who have made $500 million in their life and got it in the bank. I know that sounds crazy, but there's thousands of people who have made that kind of money. So for 3 or 4 of them to get together and say, let's each throw in $500,000 and get a suite, we just don't see it, but that happens quite a bit, I think, when you got that kind of money, you're not going to die and put it all in the casket with you. You got to spend it on something.
Yeah. Yeah. What good is it if you're not going to spend it, right? Some of it. And a lot of it's corporations that actually purchase those, and then their CEOs and financial officers and all of them. It trickles down to, their higher ups. So for those billion-dollar companies, it's not. Can they write that off?
They can probably write anything they want to off if they do it right.
Yeah.
I was glad to see Budweiser bring back the Clydesdales in the lab and overcome the horrible marketing decision that they suffered for, a couple of years now. That company, it was a staple in American corporate, and I think they suffered enough for what they did. To see them come back with the Clydesdales in the lab without any political message, I loved it. I thought it was nice that they were back.
Huh. Yeah, it was good. It was good to finally see. I like the whole thing. Well, guess we're going old school, commercial. But the commercials weren't even great. They weren't wow.
Yeah, I agree, Kaiju. The Bud Light commercial that was on sucked. It was really bad. That was on like in the first or second quarter, and I'm like, what is Budweiser doing here? But later on, when they did the Budweiser one in the fourth quarter, I thought they'd been saying they were going to bring back the Clydesdales in the lab and whatnot, and that's what they did. And I didn't realize it's been 4 years since Budweiser had the Clydesdales in the Super Bowl ads.
Oh, wow. I didn't know. I can't even. They were so bad that I don't even recall them.
Did you have a favorite commercial? I thought there was a lot of dumb commercials in this thing. I think my favorite one would have been trying to remember. It was why am I having a brain fart now?
Those two comedians, that one was kind of funny. It was
that was pretty good.
What was it? I don't even know what it was for. Yeah, no, they weren't that great. Sometimes they're so good I write them down to remind me.
I like the one with the guys with the mullets all the time.
Oh, and the thing goes by and then all of a sudden there's a mullet on.
And then the one that had all the different actors in it. It had Tom Brady, it had Matt Damon. What was that commercial? They asked, they were going, and Matt Damon finally gets to a point and he says, how about them, whatever the commercial was for? And right away he goes, I'm sorry, because he was playing off the How About Them Apples from the movie that he did,
Oh, yeah.
But he said, how about them, whatever? And then immediately he goes, I'm sorry.
The Dunkings.
Oh yeah, the donuts. How about them donuts? The Dunkings. I thought that was a pretty good movie. And then everybody's leaving at the end. They're like, Tom Brady, you can stay.
Oh man. So crazy.
But so many of them commercials. And this seems like this has been the last few years of the Super Bowl. I watch these commercials and they just suck, right? It's like they spent all this money and these commercials suck. But throughout the year during football season, every now and then I'll see a commercial that's so good and so funny. And I'm thinking that should have been sat on until the Super Bowl. They really, it's like, why wouldn't they have come the Super Bowl? Had they dropped this commercial on the Super Bowl, everybody'd be raving about it. I see commercials like that throughout the year all the time. And then when it comes down to the Super Bowl, 80% of the commercials are just garbage. It's like,
they used to be good.
You pay people to do this.
Funny.
Do you remember back in the day when like the Pepsi commercials with the goldfish, he flushed it down the toilet, and then the two old guys are out fishing and the goldfish jumps out of the lake, you know? I mean, they had such great commercials back in the day.
Yeah, that comedian too, that kid did a Michael Cera.
Yeah, that was just a product that actually has his last name. So they had to hire him to do the commercial. It was like, okay.
There's all kinds of controversy with him too, and they still had him out there.
Yeah.
He's like a creeper. Well, supposedly. I don't know. None of his female.
I think if you heard the real story behind half of Hollywood, if you were exposed to the real stories that are happening, you'd realize a lot of people are like that. They just pay publicists a lot of money to bury that shit.
Yeah.
It is crazy how I've read books about this. I've heard people talk about it who have worked with these artists and stuff and these actors, how these A-list celebrities have a publicist team that works for them to where when they do something bad, overnight that team is paying off newspapers who have the story, paying off, finding people who posted something who has a raw video of it, paying them to destroy the video and not release it, sign an NDA saying you'll never release it. These teams have worked so adamantly to bury this stuff, and they, you know, if you're an A-list celebrity worth $100 million, you'll pay a team $1 million a year to keep your ass clean like they do. And this is happening all over. We don't see a fraction of what was really going on with a lot of these people.
Yeah. Michael's saying, Jeff, you better come camping with us this year. We got to get that meeting going, Michael. I know, I've been so busy.
Well, I enjoyed talking Super Bowl with you. I've got to fly, but thanks for
I can come on too.
I don't know how much more there would be to talk about with the Super Bowl right now. Well, people have probably heard enough.
Dude. It was a lot.
I think that like every year it just became a thing that the sideshow spectacles override the real game and what happened in the game. Nobody talks about that anymore. And another thing I'm glad about with the Super Bowl is that there isn't one person who you can hang a loss on. When you saw Detroit lose the NFC Championship to the Niners and their kicker missed that kick at the end of the game, I'll tell you what, my heart bled for that guy. Detroit hadn't won a playoff game in 37 years, and he missed the frickin' kick to go to the Super Bowl. I don't think I've ever felt that bad about an athlete making a mistake. But I can't imagine. And so I was glad that there wasn't a moment like that where you can hang it on one guy.
Do you think the Detroit Lions could have beat the Chiefs?
I honestly think the best team that had a chance to win the Super Bowl was the Niners. If I'm being honest, and I'm not a Niners fan, but I will tell you this. When you look at them from a defensive side of the ball, Nick Bosa, Chase, Greenlaw, who ended up getting hurt, they are stacked on defense and even more so on offense. They've got Christian McCaffrey. They've got Ayuk and Deebo Samuel and George Kittle. You're talking offensive key players. They have 4 of the top 100 offensive key players in the NFL on one team. And you got a red-hot quarterback who's a young new guy with nothing to prove. I thought to myself, these guys really are in position to play the best. When you look at Kansas City, you got Kelce and you got Mahomes, and there's a lot of good players, but those are the two superstars. And on the Niners, you've got literally like 6 superstar level players on that team. It just felt like on paper, they should win this. But as a lot of people are pointing out, Mahomes has got something in common with Tom Brady. Never bet against him. That you can put him 30 points down and he will find a way to dig himself out. The kid is good. I take nothing away from him, but I really felt like the Niners were the better team going into this. And had it been the Lions playing them, the Lions got a good quarterback. They've got Laporta at tight end. They've got Anon at running back. They have a dual running back committee. I think they have a team that could have competed probably as well as the Niners. But to be honest with you, when you look at the way the script is wrote, I don't think anybody was destined to beat the Chiefs this year. It feels like, whether you want to believe it's contrived and was orchestrated or whether it happened naturally, nobody was beating the Chiefs this year. And that's all there is to it. Yeah. I don't think they were going to show. I don't think it was in destiny for anybody to see Taylor Swift crying in the box because her boyfriend lost the Super Bowl. That was not going to happen this year.
But. Yeah. Well, they definitely, the 49ers had, what did they have? They had Greenlaw. Was it Greenlaw that got injured?
He got injured right away in the first quarter, and he is one of their most pivotal defensive players. He's the guy. The problem that I had in this game, I want to get technical about it, is the Niners never pressured Mahomes. I saw one play where they tried to blitz him with 7 guys and put him under pressure, and he had to throw the ball away right away. Other than that, they never blitzed him once in that game besides that one time. And had Greenlaw not been hurt, that's kind of his job, was to blitz the quarterback when you don't expect it. So when you took him out of the equation, that was really a bad deal for them. I mean, and the way, how about when, what's his name? Was it Chase
But it was
Young?
stupid because he was just walking on the field. He didn't even get injured.
When he ran onto the field and flopped over, it was like, did somebody just shoot him from the rafters or what?
It was an Achilles tendon issue.
Yeah,
the way
tore his
it was
MCL.
his feet stuck in that turf, and it just tumbled over. And I'm like, boy, he must feel like a jackass for getting out of the Super Bowl because he tripped,
Oh, then there are a couple side stories I thought were interesting that we didn't mention. One was each team had a practice facility where they could practice every day and they weren't around each other, right? So there was 2 locations for that. The one that the Niners were on was an artificial turfed field outdoors that they put natural grass over. Okay, over the artificial turf, so that they thought they were giving them the best scenario to practice on. And what happened? Vegas got all the rain that week that was coming on the California coast, and it turned that to mush. And because there was an artificial turf under it, it couldn't soak away. So their practice field was like 3 inches deep of pudding. That's what they practice on all week. And then at 4 a.m, the fire alarms are getting pulled in their hotel. Like 2 days before the Super Bowl, they're pulling fire alarms in this hotel and waking everybody up at 4 a.m. And I'm just thinking, how does this happen to the either of these teams? I mean, so there were some little things happening that you're thinking, what's going on here, right? I mean, this feels orchestrated, right?
Sabotage. It was sabotage.
Yeah. Anyways, you have a good rest of your night, Nikki. I hope your car issues turn out well tomorrow, and thanks for having me on.
We'll figure out where all the little nuts and bolts go back on there. It's just a freaking battery, but they just difficult because they want you to spend more money by taking it into the dealer.
Oh yeah, it's the system's rigged.
Thanks for chatting some football.
All right, we'll see ya.
Bye. So you guys, there you go. That's the football Super Bowl lowdown from yesterday. And I know a lot of you were over there watching Dr. Meldrum. I had one in my ears. I'm watching. But finally, when it went into overtime, I had to pull it out to concentrate on the game because it was more important. It was more important to me at the time. So I can always go back and watch what I missed. So it's all good. But I hope you guys had a good little chill section. And I have to get a show going. I have an awesome show planned, but I can't nail down the guest. So I'm having to switch guests. I might just tank the show and try to do something completely different, but I don't want to. I want to do the show. So we'll see. It's only Monday, but I started early because I didn't do a show yesterday. So we'll see if I can do something good for you on Sunday. And then I don't know if you guys noticed, we may be having that show on the 21st. Is it the 21st? Yeah, the Let's Talk show with Brent and Mike Bluler from Red Creek Mafia. So, but that's going to be on a Wednesday, okay? Because Mike works the weekends, so we couldn't do it on a weekend. So that's why this conversation should have happened a long time ago. It's just schedules did not match up for Brent and him. So we just decided to get that done. So that's going to be coming up. And yeah. So thank you guys for hanging out. And I will see you guys in the next chat. Bye-bye. That's what guys me the most. Your lies, I'll do what I